Hello everyone. This is the fourth video of chapter 9 lecture about leisure and technology. And we keep talking about pervasiveness of technology and leisure. It's everywhere. And we're starting with a very good example, streaming media. As in something like, for example, Netflix, YouTube TV, Hulu, Amazon Prime. More recent example would be Disney Plus, right? HBO Max, and I really want those things too, but I'm just thinking about it. It's a lot of money, over time. Anyway, so what's new about these things is that you're not, for example, getting anything physical like a videotape or DVD, right? And it's not like you're downloading anything or uploading anything, that everything is streamed and played on a browser, basically, on the internet, right? So that's a very different, and of course, that's based on the connectivity, better connectivity that we have with the internet, Wi-Fi, some of the 4G technology and everything, and that makes it possible. Now, obviously, this is a bit of a game changer when it comes to, because it directly compete with the most popular leisure activity so far, which has been watching TV. We're still watching TV and movies, but it's in a different way, very different way. There are some interesting statistics. For example, this one from Business Insider shows that Netflix subscribers, the number of Netflix subscribers surpassed the number of cable TV consumer user by 2017. It's already flipped in the United States, but I think Canada is following this path as well, very closely. Now, another survey down in the States, again in 2019, found that the more people, 69% of the people who were surveyed, use the video streaming service, any of them. It doesn't have to be Netflix, Hulu, anything. More people had one of those things compared to cable TV or satellite TV. That's kind of like better, fancier version. But even pulling them together, cable and satellite together, didn't go beyond one of those video streaming services. So really, this is becoming mainstream. When we say watching TV now and on, it doesn't mean that watching TV on those with the remote control, and it's like, you got to choose one of those like dozens or hundreds of channel that's going on at the time, right? It's not. It's on demand, in a way that you can choose what you want to watch as long as it's on Netflix, right? And I have to make a comment that Netflix Canada isn't really doing a good job, really, compared to the US version. It's really sad. However, Netflix Canada has Ghibli, or Ghibli actually in Japanese, one of the most famous cartoon movie from Japan, animated movie from Japan recently, and I recommend strongly you to watch that. Anyway, so that's how it looks like. It's different, right? You can watch as much as you want. You don't have to. We don't really have a TV commercial, at least in a Netflix, maybe actually in the Hulu, cheaper version. Very different experience. The streaming video service also, this 2019 survey showed, increased rapidly from 9% of the survey responded in 2009 to 69% in 2019. Over a 10-year period, they almost revolutionized this most common leisure activity, and at least in the developed countries. This is phenomenal, yo. The TV status didn't change over several decades, and now it changed all of a sudden. Now we really have to ask this question: how do these video streaming services influence our leisure and happiness? And of course it does, but how? And we don't have a lot of data to begin yet, but I'm assuming we're going to see a lot. But some of the data, for example, this one from the year 2019 survey shows that at least among US adults, and I don't expect that the Canadian adults are so different, that they are more entertained. They found their by the streaming services. They find streaming services like Netflix more fun, enjoyable, basically, than a cable TV, which is not surprising. But now there's the data. Okay. Why is that? Maybe without a TV commercials, ability to binge watch something, right? Stream services provide a more hedonic experience. Hedonic as in pleasant, pleasurable, laughter, humor, maybe relaxation, all that kind of experiences. More those, of course, TV, traditional TV offer that, but it's more magnified. But did you also realize that these streaming platforms also recommend shows and movies based on your past, viewing record and ratings? They ask you, like, did you like this show, right? An hour later, you do, and you started to from there. It's like a potato. You take out the one potato, and there's another potato, connected to it, and you started to watch different shows and different movies basically from there. Now, this can be problem. Well, it could be good, right? Because you're more likely, hopefully, arguably, find a show that you like. Maybe similar shows. And if you actually look at the Netflix of different people, you can see like what kind of people are they, because there's a tendencies, right? Some people who only watch action movies and really, I don't know, those things, versus like horror movies, which I never do, the zombie and ghosts and all that kind of stuff. There's that type of people. There's the people who go with the gooey and romantic all the time. You can see actually personal preferences. But the problem is, and they started to recommend, the system started to recommend, the problem is, where is your freedom? Where is your choice? Are we really free when we choose? Because when you think about, go back to chapter 2, I think, we learned about New Linger's leisure paradigm. There are two things that defining the best type of leisure experience, intrinsic motivation, which is enjoyment, right? Having fun. So the other slide showed that actually these Netflix and stuff like that helps us to have fun. Good. But what about freedom? Freedom, especially to choose. Freedom to, not freedom from, but freedom to. It's about choosing something from options. But what are our options when the algorithm starts to recommend things? Did you know Netflix, for example, have annual competition? At least they had an annual competition before for computer scientists and programmers teams. People from everywhere in the world, they're going to submit their algorithm to optimize this recommendation system so that people are going to get hooked and watch more and enjoy more and on and so on and so forth. It's about prediction system, machine, that's the equation. And the winner basically sells their algorithm to a Netflix, and the Netflix pay a big amount of money to those people. So that way they can pick the best brain in the world every year, right? Without hiring them, to be honest. And they can keep their algorithm top notch, the best, always. And that's how Netflix and probably many other streaming platforms are suggesting things based on what you saw, based on how you reacted, how you engaged, how you rated, how, also maybe your other personal demographic characteristics. You're in Canada versus, US, because there's like a Canada top 10 today, things like that. So many things they recommend so that you would spend more time on those platforms. Are we really choosing? Are we really free? Do we really have options? Maybe our pure leisure is compromised in a real sense because of that. It really challenges us. Now, another technology that's also becoming more and more popular, it's been a while, AI, right? Artificial intelligence. But it gets common. It came into our bedroom. It came into our living room. Something like a Siri. If you have an iPhone, you have a Siri. Or Google Home, Alexa, Amazon and Alexa from Amazon. We have Alexa in a living room. We have Google Home in a bedroom, right? It's a new thing that we have such a obvious AI in our home. And that's, again, going back to the concept of IoT, Internet of Things. It's connected to different things, the speaker, the TV. It will turn on the TV. You can it can time stuff for you, when you're cooking, for example. It can put the music on. It can tell you the weather today. It can do many things. It could make our life more enjoyable and convenient. And of course, AI is connected to robots and everything that we're going to talk later on. Now, before that, I wanted to talk about the mobile apps. It's basically software, a little bit of software that there's codes and programs in it, basically, right? And if you open up your phone, there's like dozens of it, if it's not hundreds of them, right? And some of them are purchased, bought, some of them are free, although you have to watch maybe sponsorship, the ads, maybe advertisements, or they're selling your data potentially. And that's possible. So it's maybe not really free in that sense. There are dozens, sorry, it's not dozens, but dozens of dozens of app categories at those Google app stores and their Apple Store too. The top 7 categories are games, number 1. Leisure, game is leisure, business, education, lifestyle, and it could be some of the relaxation, yoga, things like that could be it. Entertainment, leisure, utilities, and travel. This could be also, again, in that leisure, tourism, depending on the, So a lot of mobile apps are for leisure, right? Check your apps. How many of the apps are for your leisure? Speaking of apps, we have to talk about this, dating apps, because it's one of the very distinct category, right? It's been popular. Many people use it. And it's clearly related to our leisure. I mean, dating. Is dating leisure? That's a good question. But, socializing in a way, and relationship, and of course, it could be, it's related to your happiness one way or another, right? So it's a really good example of how mobile app as technology can impact our leisure and happiness. A great example, a popular example of dating app is Tinder. Some of you may have used it. It could be more of an older-fashioned old one. Maybe there's something newer now. There's different dating apps that are for people with different sexualities, for example, things like that. But there's one large study of Tinder, right? And in Belgium, by Timmermans and Courtois 2018, and what they found was very interesting and really challenges our assumption stereotype about these dating apps. So I wanted to share. First of all, the number of swiping. Swiping means that when you go somewhere like downtown at a club or bar, right? You have the phone and you have Tinder in it. And the Tinder automatically shows people who also have a Tinder in that whatever vicinity, like, I don't know, 5 kilometers or 2 kilometers, whatever that might be. And you can swipe like yes or no. That's such a judgmental process, isn't it? That whether basically you're interested in that person or not, kind of thing. The number of swiping does not relate with the number of matches, actually. So if you've ever done that, that's the fact, actually. More importantly, though, less than 50% of those Tinder users, everybody, they actually had over 1,000 people, but less than 50% of those people had an offline actual meeting with the Tinder match. Less than 50%. Don't you think that's a very actually low number? Yeah. And more than 1/3 of these offline encounters, so that's about what? 1/3 of the 50%. So about a little over 15% of the entire sample had some casual sex based on that. So there's a hedonic experience too, the hedonic, the pleasurable basically experience. Now though, the last component is really challenging our stereotype. But more than a quarter of these less than 50% encounter, 50%, offline meetings also resulted in a committed relationship. That's not just a one night stand and hook up, but, really dating for a while, at least. So what that's about, again, 12%, 13%, give or take, of the entire sample. So we tend to consider this is like dating apps. That's for like a casual thing. You can't find your, really serious committed relationship with those. Not really, actually. It could lead to something very meaningful as well. So that's something that, the research is actually showing potentially. And it's really impacting our leisure. It's really impacting our relationship, because depending on where you are, if you're in Edmonton, maybe besides the COVID, it's easier to meet people. But if you're in a, countryside, it's difficult to meet people, or if you have certain type of sexuality, that's not necessarily easy to meet with a similar type of sexuality. In that kind of situation, these dating applications are really changing the world for them. They're just changing their relationship, just changing their well-being, happiness for them. I'm going to stop the 4th video here, and I'm going to see you in the next video.